Hello fantasy faithfuls and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2 of CSD Head-2-Head. Today, I again have two running backs for you in Kerryon Johnson and Kerryon Johnson, who both go in the late third right now.
Backfield, Agnew who ran it earlier, they give it to Johnson. Good rules. Kerryon Johnson running hard into the end zone. Touchdown.
Starting off, we're looking at Johnson's rushing and receiving. Johnson has some interesting trends. He runs 16% outside the left end and 10% outside the right end. Both are above league average and are two of the lanes that correlates the most with fantasy scoring. I like that a lot. He also has really high percentages outside the tackles while lacking A-gap runs, which is too bad since he has 5.3 yards per carry up the A-gap, but that left end production is just baller. 9.1 yards per carry on 16% of your carries. That is massive and easily his best lane. I'm glad he don't run too much outside the left guard, as this is his worst lane with 2.8 yards per carry. All in all, very strange and interesting numbers, but good ones as well. In the receiving aspect of his game, he is a very classical running back with distribution of more throws outside the numbers than over the middle. However, the amount of targets over the middle is crazy low, just like Mac from last week. His catch rates are actually really high all across the field, so it almost doesn't matter where he gets targeted, even if I like that the lowest catch rate is where he is targeted the least. His touchdown rate last year was 2.5%, 35th highest in the league. You can expect some positive regression here next year, as Blunt is not on the team to steal goal line carries. But back to his receiving, and we find out why he is not targeted more than 4 times per game. He doesn't really get any yards from throws to the left. If more throws went to the right and middle, it would have been a different story.
Little delay and big running room. And headed to the end zone is Kerryon Johnson.
Now let's take a look at Kerryon Johnson rushing and receiving. We see that he has some really strange running patterns, but however strange the numbers are, that's what makes him great. The right side is the side that you want to high percentages of carries to. It leads to more fantasy points in general, so that Jones has focus on that side is perfect. Plus, having 20% to the left end is usually a very good thing. Furthermore, 6.7 yards per carry to that left end lane, where he has 20% of his carries, is massive. Add that he gains 6.4 up the middle, and we have two rush lanes that are stud levels of production. His rushing patterns is probably my favorite of any running back out there, even if they are a little bit all across the board. Jones, just as Johnson, sees most of his targets to the left side of the field, but has plenty more to the right as well, being almost even with 47%, 9% over the middle, and 44% to the right. With his catch rates, we see that he struggles with catching the ball to the left and over the middle. The middle we can ignore, as it is less than a tenth of all his target, but the left is just god-awful. His touchdown rate last year was 6%, the 4th highest in the league. This will obviously regress, but with more carries, I expect him to score about the same, just less frequently. His yards per catch is what saves him from being totally useless in the passing game. Sure, he gets far below league average to the left, but that 9.3 to the right, where he has 44% of all his targets and 87% catch rate, is fantastic.
Straight ahead, leaping in the air, and touchdown for Kerryon Johnson and the Lions.
Looking at how they perform in some different situations, Johnson scores more points on the road last year, mainly impacted by 2 games at home. He had less than 10 carries. Jones, on the other hand, is way better at Lambeau. Johnson scored more points against teams that had a good run defense, while Jones of course scored more points against teams that give up a lot of points to running backs. And in the final category, they again are opposites, as Johnson scores more against teams with a winning record and Jones more against teams below 500. So Johnson's best situation is playing away versus an above 500 record team with a good run defense, and Jones' best situation is playing at home versus a below 500 record team with a bad run defense. I would like to take a second to remind you to hit that like button, leave a comment what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel. I love every interaction I have with y'all, and every little bit helps me put out even more content. Let's take a look at their red zone analysis. Johnson saw 17 red zone carries in 2018, and Jones saw 18, so extremely even. With those carries, Kerryon scored 3 touchdowns while Jones scored 6. That is a huge difference in success rate, and I have to mention again that I believe Jones will regress back to the mean. Johnson needs to play the entire year and just bump up the share of carries in the red zone. 18% success rate is easily sustainable, so at least 6 red zone touchdowns. And since Jones also missed games, even if the success rate goes down, he can land at 6 again with more opportunities. Looking at their opponents in the first 4 weeks, Kerryon starts off versus the Cardinals that gave up the most points to running backs in the league last year and has overall a pretty easy schedule. He scored more against strong rush teams, but overall this is a good thing. Compare that to Jones, who faces some of the toughest ones early on with the Bears in week 1, the toughest team for running backs to score points on last year. You can clearly see the difference in points to running backs between the two.
Jones, touchdown Packers.
Comparing their numbers, we have a ceiling win for Jones by 2 points, not the highest of ceilings for either, but top 25 numbers at least. Johnson takes home the 1-game floor by a ton. Week in and week out, he is the safer pick between the two with 5.7 versus 1.9. The risk of them not reaching double-digit fantasy points on any given week is however in favor of Jones, 38.2% compared to Johnson's 49.1%. To summarize, let's look at their pros and cons. For Johnson, he has good rushing patterns, he has an easy schedule and a very high floor, low ceiling though, and some touchdowns issues. Looking at Jones, he has strange but good rushing patterns. He has a much higher ceiling than Kerryon. He comes with lower risk of reaching double-digit points, but he has a very tough schedule and that floor is crazy low. After comparing all these factors, Johnson ends up with a draft grade of B, while Aaron Jones gets a B-. This was a really tough one, and the deciding factor ended up being the schedule and floor for Johnson. He is a safer pick, even if it might not have the high peaks as Jones. Quick reminder to not forget to check out the Patreon page if you want exclusive content and get a full draft analysis of your team. Hello Fantasy Faithful, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out more of them right here and here. In case you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat.